Eddy, and we are going to be just talking casually today and see how it goes. So, anyway, thank you so much for joining in. First of all, Chandana, Abadud, everyone who's already here and who's going to be joining in soon. Please be respectful in the comment section. That will be great. But if you have any questions, do ask the questions. That will be awesome. Let me put some time limit as well on the chat. Okay, I can't put any restriction today, unfortunately. So we will be dealing with some trolling as well later on. Anyway, so Eddy, how's your day, by the way? It's
Fantastic,
Monday.
actually.
Okay.
Just been enjoying the weather, and I've felt really, really hungry today. I don't know why. I can't stop eating. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Oh, well, you might be pregnant, I guess.
Maybe.
Mm.
Who's impregnated me then?
Oh, well, that's up to you to get to know that. Not, I don't know. I don't know what's going on in your life. That's why we're doing this live, so we can figure out what's actually going on. Hi,
Yeah.
hello everyone. Pradeep. So it's not going to be like a interview, Eddy. So we're going to be just like I wrote down some questions, but it will be like mainly casual. So be calm, confident, have a cup of tea or coffee, and then we will be just asking those relevant questions that people would like to know, like myself as well, including myself. Um, so first of all, Eddy, describe yourself. Like, what is your sexuality?
Well, I'd like to think I am straight. I'm attracted to femininity. That's all I know, really.
Okay. And like, do you have any like issues with people who don't understand this, or when people ask you this question, like, oh, how can you be straight because you have, are you like into anyone who's trans or something? Like, what do you say to those people?
I really don't give much attention to the environment, so I just, mind my own business and admire and spend time with whoever I want to be with. And I think now is quite a good time where people can pick and choose what they, who they want to be with and what they want to do. And there's so many avenues now, as you know, where people can meet people and really explore what sexuality they want to be. I mean, there seems to be a new type of phenomena going on now where people are sort of having this enlightenment of experiences as well, and then they're finding a lot more about themselves, like I have.
But do you think this is a good time to like to be who you are? Because a lot going on politically, I'm talking about, like such as in America and stuff. So England is obviously a bit different than America, but what do you think? Like, do you feel more pressure now compared to a few years ago for like being openly liking, like what openly being yourself, basically?
I mean, the pressure's still there, but you got to have some privacy as well. And a lot of people from the LGBT community, then they respect the privacy, and they don't want people to know their business, which is quite understandable. But then I think with the media, there's this pressure where they want you to come out and explore your personality and just tell the world, look, I am gay, I am bi, or whatever it is. I personally don't agree with that. I think people deserve the right to their own privacy, you know, live their own choice of life, whether it's in the public or in private.
Um, yeah, but unfortunately, there are so many nosy people, who actually don't care about what your private life is and stuff. I thought this was mainly like a, our Asian culture, but it's not actually. It's everywhere in the world. It's not just sticking to Asian nowadays. Like the amount of like Jesus advocate comes on my live stream, tried to preach me. You know, I was like, okay. So anyway, so what do you think? First of all, how it's so strange for me to tell people like how did we met, and how our friendship started. Would you like to elaborate how it started
Yeah,
and
so
why it
I think it's
started?
been quite a long. Sorry, I'm just interrupting you there. So yeah, I think we met online, and it was quite a nice, fluid experience. It happened quite naturally, and then we just sort of connected, and then we met for a drink and some food, from what I remember. And yeah, it was a beautiful friendship, and I'm quite proud and lucky to still be in contact with you. We have obviously lost contact over the years, but we've always had the respect for each other, and I think we quite enjoy each other's company.
Hmm. It was lovely actually, like I really liked having you as a friend because you're like, obviously you're non-trans, so you're not, you're not trans, but you're not completely away from this trans LGBTQ people, and this stuff basically. So it's more comfortable that way. Initially, like I was bit, I didn't know, like as you know, like when we first met, I was a bit nervous that time, like how would you be like and stuff. And I was quite young in my transition, like, and that's why I was a bit more worried about it. So, did you actually like when we first met? How would you describe me at that time?
I mean, you were this beautiful soul, really. You were quite an attractive person, um, and obviously, what I remember, you were getting a lot of attention, and most of it was sort of unwanted as well. But yeah, I was very attracted to you, obviously, and obviously, to make it better, you were a nice person and quite genuine and quite honest and quite loving. So yeah, I'm quite happy the way things have been, and I'm quite glad that we've connected and had this relationship. So yeah, it's really good.
And by the way, you said about attractive and all that, but that time I was, I wasn't transitioning, and it takes somebody like very confident to even, meet someone who's not
Mm.
transitioning, and especially like in your situation, because for somebody who's going through it, they can, as I said, they can understand. But and a lot of guys, they are open about themselves. They're more confident, but they're more confident with the trans women who are passable, or mostly passable, so they don't get looks from people and stuff. That's why I was a bit like skeptic, and I was a bit worried for you as well at the same time. Like, how are you confident? Are you going to be confident? Are you feeling like uncomfortable and stuff? Like, that's why I was asking you this question. So were you actually tiny bit uncomfortable or anything like that?
Yeah, because I mean, you want to talk about the story at the hotel,
Yeah,
because that was
well,
quite fun, wasn't it?
I'm talking about I'm talking about like, where we actually met. We met in a pub.
Oh yeah,
So, and that was like LGBTQ friendly pub, obviously. But at the same time, we walked out and we hang about in city and stuff. And that's, I like to discuss, like, were you actually a bit nervous back then because of how I looked, how I used to look, and you knew that I wasn't dressing up and stuff, in our first meeting and stuff. So I remember I was wearing a covered hoodie thing, and
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
my hairs were growing, but they were not long enough. So things like that. You look, to be honest, you look the same. To be honest, you didn't age at all. You didn't.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Getting
So
great.
gray is fine. I get gray as well sometimes. You know, but yeah, that was surprising, and that's why I have a lot of respect for you, because you were more honest and open about who you are. Not like, especially like being Asian, because a lot of people might have stigma towards, like, people who date or meet trans women or be seen with trans women and stuff in public. But it's extra mile for people who are Asian, because they have that extra pressure because of the close community that we have. So yeah, tell me about your early life and stuff. Like, how did you discover your sexuality and stuff? Like, how it all began.
Yeah, so I think like most people, we kind of like had this quite a strict family background. quite strict, religious and cultural at the same time, where you weren't allowed to do certain things and you had to behave and you were disciplined. And yeah, so that's the background. And then as we grew up, obviously it was a time where there was no internet, there was none of the social media. So, it was very taboo to, be different, to be trans or gay or whatever it is. It was quite a hard, tough time compared to what it's like now. It was a good time as well. And then as we grew older, obviously we learned more about people that are a bit different, and obviously about sexuality, and obviously things in the UK we get taught, sex education once we're like reaching puberty between 10 to 12, and we're just like we never understand any of it, but we get taught it by these teachers and stuff. So, and then it's just you just be sort of focused on one sort of direction, either you're a male or female, either you're straight, you have to be straight, that's it. At the time, there was no emphasis on being LGBT. It was unheard of. It was very sort of embarrassing, and I think nobody ever understood any of it either. I don't
Mhm.
remember being given any education about this back in the 90s. And then obviously, as we go older, we obviously meet different people and have different preferences. So that's where it's all been going, really.
But that's like, how did you like? Then how did you realize and discover your first experience and stuff? Like how it all began.
Mainly, it was just like a visual thing. So kind of like, I think I must have watched a documentary when I was a little boy at the time, and I must have found somebody trans quite attractive, and it kind of like maybe stuck in my mind since then. And then obviously, when I was in my 20s, I obviously explored a lot of stuff on the internet, lots of these sort of dating sites at the time, and then just wanted to explore and try different things, and it's been really,
Okay.
really good.
And would you say like your first experience with how would you describe your first experience with a trans person?
I think it was fantastic. It was
Really?
quite natural, and yeah, it just got better and better really, because I was sort of seeing somebody at the time who was quite convincing, and yeah, really probably had the best sex for a long time.
Is it the one I'm talking like you're talking about the one I know about? That one.
Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
The one you've been in relationship with like I remember we were still friends that time and you were seeing someone that time, I guess. I don't know about relationship, but you were seeing someone who was a trans. Is it that
Yeah,
person you're talking about?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's
So
like
yeah,
a 10, 10, at least 10 years ago or something. Yeah.
yeah, something like that. I think we've known each other for almost sort of 10 years, or probably a bit more. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was fantastic. I had a really good time. Everything felt really natural, and had just a good understanding with this person. And it's just a shame, really. And then since then, I've kind of like dated quite a lot of different people. I've met different types of trans people as well, and I do have quite a sort of circle of different, groups I attend and meet people every other sort of week, really.
Hmm. Okay, Eddie, I'm going to ask three questions. There were three. We got three questions, by the way. So somebody was asking your name. I already told them your name. Your nickname is Eddie. That's what we're gonna go by. And so there are a few questions as well. So first one is somebody's asking, are you married? Have you been married? Do you have kids and stuff? Go on. You don't have to. If
Uh,
you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to tell
like
that.
I said, put it short and sweet. I've been there, done that, got the T-shirt, so people can make their own mind up with that.
Okay. All right. Um, have you ever, okay, this is from me, by the way. Have you ever cheated while you were in relationship or with someone? Have you?
Yeah, a few times. Yeah, unfortunately, really human.
I'm glad you're so proud of it. Great,
Have to be.
great. Oh my God. Did you suffer the consequences of it because of that?
Yeah, I suppose. I did, I think, once or twice. But it's you live and you learn, don't you? And you learn from your
Yeah,
mistakes.
we all make mistakes, right? Depends, like if you consider it your mistake or something. I think a lot of times there are so many nuances. Like people are going through so much. Sometimes they are living in a dead relationship that they don't have much going on there. So they have several
Mm.
reasons. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So that's there. That's clear. I'm glad you answered it so honestly about that. Okay. And by the way, you can stop me if I ask you anything that makes you uncomfortable. Okay. So
No, thank you.
my job is to ask you. Your job is to say no or yes.
Ah,
Okay. Now, then there's somebody else who asked. Somebody's asking, "Are you a trans person yourself?"
ooh. I have to pull my pants down, but I can't do that on YouTube, obviously.
Guys, he's not trans. He's a biological cis man. He's not trans. He's sexually into different people, women and trans, I guess. So that's what he is. Now, I wanted to ask you this question, but you already answered this. Like, I wanted to ask you about your sexuality. Like, do you consider yourself bi? Do you consider yourself straight? Do you consider yourself, pansexual? What do you consider yourself?
Um, I think there's that many labels now. I mean, I'm confused myself. So I think there's something called poly. So you're kind of like attracted to the person or somebody's personality rather than male or female. So I'm quite easygoing, and I love to explore, love to learn more about myself. So I think I'm still on that journey. But I
Till
do
now.
find women attractive, and trans women especially attractive.
Oh, okay. Trans women attractive. Are you currently seeing someone?
No.
You thought a lot about that. Okay.
I like to tease you.
Okay, okay. Right.
Mystery.
A mystery, yeah, mystery man. Have you ever been with a man?
Yes, I have.
I'm not talking about trans women who's transitioning. I'm talking about man.
Yeah, just doesn't really do anything for me, to be honest with you.
Okay. And is it just for like you wanted to try something, or is it like just fell into place?
Yeah, it's just again, it's just exploring, and then you just know more about yourself, and yeah, again, it's just having fun. It's just connecting with somebody and seeing if there's something there.
Mm. Um. Still, like, well, like, did you enjoy while you were with that person? With that? No, you didn't.
No, no,
Why not?
because I don't find men attractive. I just love femininity, and if a trans woman or a female, genetic female's there, then that's why I generally go for. I don't like men. They're not my type, and I get offers for men all the time, but it just doesn't do anything for me. There's no
Right. But
feeling,
what is
nothing.
your type, though?
Sorry.
What is your type?
Well, I like women who makes an effort. Um, Obviously, she's got to have some nice curves. Um, she's got to be big upstairs, big downstairs. So yeah, that
Thought
helps.
I thought you said once that you're into skinny women.
Yeah, I like skinny women as well, but they got to have the fat in the right places.
Hmm. Okay.
So
Right. Uh, Abdul is saying hi to you. Guys, if you have any good question for Eddie regarding the topic, please do ask that question. Not don't ask the question like how much he earns or where does he work. That's not relevant question. So please do ask relevant question, not like those questions. Please. Request.
so
Thank you.
everyone's from today. Is it mainly India? We've got 49 people joined in. So yeah, it'd be nice just to know where everyone's from. I love
It
India,
will
by
be,
the way.
it will be more people. There are people from US, people from India. I think people from other places as well. Like Ramen is from Iran. Uh, so they And Nino is from what? Is it Netherlands? Nino. So Nino is from different places as well. But yeah, yeah,
I think we need to visit the Netherlands anyway. I really want to go and check it out. We should go for like a weekend.
yeah. We can try sometime. Okay, we can try definitely. I would love to visit and travel and make vlogs as well, as I said to these people as well.
Mhm.
The last time I went, that was before pandemic. So with my ex, and can you believe it? Like I went to Rome, and as soon as I came back from Rome with him, um, pandemic started. So thank God I left it on the right time. Otherwise, I would be stuck in pandemic in Italy, because I remember that time they blocked people who were traveling to Italy and who were in Italy, and um, they had to stay in hotels and stuff, in isolation and stuff for so long. So
Mm.
thank God I didn't get stuck there.
Yeah, it was horrible, wasn't it?
Somebody somebody is saying we want face reveal and don't do that. No, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna look. He's guys. Uh, I think everybody has some sort of privacy, so we should respect that, right? Well, just because cola is crazy, not everybody's going to be crazy. So okay. Anyway,
Yes,
okay.
all donations welcome.
But he's looking nice like that, right? Don't you think, guys? He's handsome. Okay. So let's do this. Let's ask another question. What are your thoughts on dating sites? Like, how do you find it easy to date people, like regularly or through dating sites? And what's your experience of a dating site?
Where do I start? I think they're really hit and miss. I personally don't like them because it's just so everyone's so toxic on there and everyone's disposable. So you could be speaking to somebody for like up to 3 months even, and then one day they might decide they don't want to see you again, or they met somebody else, and you just never know who you're dealing with, and that's the problem. And we can all pretend to be whoever we want to be, and have these pictures and have this, persona, and generally that's what people do, and you never know the right person. And then they can say what they want as well to you because they're never going to get hold of you. So it beats the art of a real conversation. It's all done over the phone. So to me, I mean, I won't recommend it. I'm personally fed up of dating sites. I really want to get out there and meet real people. But again, people don't do that anymore. People rather just text each other rather than having a face-to-face conversation. And I think I need to have more of a confidence in that as well. And it's like yesterday I met some woman in the supermarket and she's really, really hot. And I even had the chance to speak to her later on. But then again, it just really awkward situations like women up. And I think that's gone out of fashion now. You can't
Hmm.
do that anymore. You can't tell a woman that she's attractive or would you like to exchange numbers. People are just so scared of what to expect from them.
But why? Is it because of the feminists or something?
No, it's just people are scared of rejection of how they're going to be viewed. So
Well, but did you have okay? So obviously, that's I guess that's with every men and women as well nowadays, because dating site is like filled with fake profiles and people who are sometimes dodgy as well, or sometimes they have. What my experience is like, I have seen people on dating sites. In one hand, they are more what do you call? They're more open about their themselves, their sexuality, their kinks, and fantasy. And on the
mm,
other sides, they are a bit more about looking for relationships, soulmate, and everything. You know,
yeah.
so that's my experience on dating sites, because there are different type of dating sites, and they all have different sort of. They offer different
Mm,
things. Like some of them are for hookups, and some of them are for dating and stuff. And it's the same most of the time. It's the same people on both sides. It's just that on one side they're more open about what they want and how they want and hookups and everything, and on other side they are selling like or trying to find Mr. Right or Miss Right for them. But at the same time, people who are on a good site like that, like a dating site, they're not aware of this side of the people who are also on this side and that side. So they're only seeing the good side of people. So I would say it's better to, even for people, if they really want to get to know someone, it's better to go on hookup sites rather than just, dating sites, because that way you will know the true colors of people, at least if you are going
Yeah,
online.
I mean, depends what you're after, really. I mean, there's a lot of women and guys they want relationships, but it's just so difficult in this day and age to even get that. And people, like I said, they just think the grass is always green on the other side. So they'll get bored of you, and then I mean, if you're a certain person, you're very attractive, for example, you're going to get lots of attention from different people. So then you're just going to have this big ego, and unfortunately, that's how people are, especially these people on Instagram.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So on the same topic, but a little bit different, apart from dating sites, like, did you have any bad experience from dating sites?
yeah, lots of I've done lots of dating for the past sort of few years now, and unfortunately, there've been very bad experiences. Kind of like people you meet, and they're very different over the phone, and then once you meet them in person, they're just totally different. And most of them don't even look the same in the pictures. So on the picture, look really nice, but in real life, it'll be the opposite. And
Are you
then it's
talking
just
about
really
trans
awkward.
women or women?
Just women in general.
Okay, women in general. Okay, now when I'm saying bad experience, it's different. Like, okay, this is obviously misleading when somebody is putting too much makeup, or having filters and everything on their pictures and putting on sites. What about like actual bad experiences when you actually went to see someone and you got somebody who's completely a bitch or something?
Yeah, that's happened as well a few times. And then it's just really awkward. But you just try to basically be polite as you do, me being a gentleman, and then you obviously won't be seeing them again. So you just politely tell them, I'm sorry, it's not working out. You're not the right person for me. Good luck. So yeah, it's just really awkward, and it's really tough as well.
But that happened to you, right?
Yes, of course.
Don't you have any stories, anything that it's like really sticking out, any experience that it's really sticking out?
I think generally it's just women that are just really stuck up, and they're really like what's the word? They're up their own arse. Really, they just seem to think that they're so special or so superior, and they try to be really clever with you by asking certain questions. Um, what I don't like is when people don't make eye contact, and I find that very odd and very rude, especially when you sat in front of them. I mean, I can understand people are not very confident, but then it's just like when you're having this conversation, the person's not even looking at you; they're looking elsewhere and having this conversation. I think that's just bang out of order.
But women can do multitask. They can, talk. I mean, they can look somewhere else and still talk to you.
Yeah, but it's a sign generally that the person's trying to hide something as well. They're not making eye contact.
Or yeah, it makes you feel sometimes that they're not interested in stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can. Have anyone actually, okay, at least the women who are putting filters on, makeup on, but when you meet them, they're still like women. What about, has it ever happened when you went to see somebody and it turns out to be a guy or something?
Not really, thank God. I mean, sometimes you meet these trans people, and it's the same again. They just have these pictures that are filtered, or they're like 10 years old, or they've put lots of weight on, and they look the same. So when you meet them in person, it's like, oh my God, this is not what I signed up for. So it's very embarrassing and very awkward as well. So
Somebody's asking, do you like makeup girls or non-makeup? I know the answer, but I just want you to answer it as well.
yeah, I mean, I love a woman that makes an effort. I mean, unfortunately, I do like the woman that has eyelashes and makes an effort. I think it looks quite sexy.
Yeah,
Um,
what are you complaining about? They look fake and all.
yeah. I mean, not too much, not too much,
Okay.
but a reasonable standard would be appreciated.
Okay. So
But then again, some women
at least they should
look
look like a.
naturally.
Sorry.
Sorry, I said some women they look fantastic natural anyway, so they don't need any makeup. So I like a bit of that as well. So something in between will be perfect.
Okay. Something in between. That's definitely you're talking about trans.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Right. Okay. I got that. Um, what about the trans women who you like saw on dating sites and stuff? As you already were mentioning it about, do you think some of them are real trans women or they are just like men in dresses, like transvestites I'm talking about? D- Do you think most of them are the dating sites are filled with transvestites or they're actually trans?
They've got a bit of both,
They don't.
and some are that convincing you can't even tell. But most of them are basically guys that have a secret life or the cross dressers,
Yeah, but
unfortunately.
I'm
But
not,
yeah,
I'm not
it is
talking
what it
about.
is.
I'm not talking about, non-passing trans. I'm not talking about that because even non-passing trans are trans. I mean, yeah, they are. But I'm talking about when you blatantly can see it's somebody who's putting on makeup and, stockings and everything just for the meeting. And then once this is done, then they are back to, a guy mode and they have a wife or something like that. Have you
Yeah.
ever have that experience with someone?
Yes, I have.
And you met
So
that person? Have you done something like
yeah,
that?
yeah, I have. I have, yeah.
Well,
So
did it happen?
yeah, I've been to certain clubs where you men come dressed as men and they get dressed and they wear makeup and wear nice dresses and wigs and then you don't recognize them and then you know after all the action's done then they're just the normal self and you're thinking, hang on a minute, who's this person? Really interesting.
Hmm. Okay. Very interesting. That is actually interesting. Yes. I was thinking about that question, but it's just gone out of my mind. I'm going to think about it again. But I'll come back to
Mm.
this topic a little bit because this is very interesting for me, especially for me. I mean, I like that because I have few stories to share as well. Like I have people.
Today I think you had a big list of questions.
I have a list of questions. Yeah, I had to write it down because some of them are really relevant questions. But you know what? So far, you're answering it in a very broader term. I like you to answer in a way that tells your personal experience as well without naming names.
Oh,
It-
okay.
yeah, because if it's more personal, it would be nice because that's your like something that you can tell as long as it doesn't give you in trouble or something. Not that anybody will, is anyway. Right. Uh, Tell me one thing. Like, did you start meeting? And be honest, okay? Did you start meeting trans women because you got toxicated by biological women? Is it the reason, or it was just out of curiosity?
I think it just out of curiosity, really. I mean, I've dabbled with both in the past and present as well. So, but yeah, again, the attraction has been going for a very long time, and again, it's all about being a man and having that feminine presence. And again, sex is very important as well for men. And if the sex is fantastic, then obviously, it makes the experience more better.
Yeah, but a lot of people are not maybe that comfortable. Uh, you know, and it's not just trans women as well. But at the same time, trans women have extra baggage that way because they have to look certain way, they have to pass certain way, they have to,
Yeah.
present themselves certain way. Like, how do you class your type of person? Like, do they have to be like feminine 24/7 in bed, outside of bed? How do they have to react and react?
I mean, we got to understand everyone's got their off days as well, and
Mhm.
you can't expect everyone to be perfect all the time, and it does take a lot of effort for a lot of people. So again, it's all about compromising, like most things. If you care about somebody, you're willing to compromise, depending on the situation.
Okay, so you don't have any like specific preference for that. That's good. Um,
No.
okay. And has it ever happened that when you actually felt ashamed of your sexuality?
Um, Sometimes, when I've met somebody and I've had sex, and I just feel quite disgusting sometimes. I feel quite dirty, and I'll come home and I'll shower myself, and then you know I'll feel a bit better. Because nobody's perfect. Everyone's got their own demons and things they're going through. Sometimes you do things for the hell of it. You might even have sex with somebody for the hell of it, and then you're just not very proud of it, or maybe the experience is quite bad, and then you just want to forget about it and move on.
Yeah, but when it normally happens, that happens when you are actually very needy down there and you want to meet someone. Just at that time, you're willing to compromise. Like you can lower your standards, what type of person you want to meet because you're so, hyped up. But once that feeling is gone, and if it still remained for that person, I think that's a genuine feeling, I guess, or genuine attraction. Because a lot of time, what happens is like, wham bam, thank you, ma'am, type, situation. So yeah. Anyway, so you didn't feel you did ask your question. You did ask yourself this question when you were alone that you felt guilty about some of the situations. Do you
Yeah.
think it's toxic for you for your mental health sometimes? Because a lot of guys are so confused about this. Like they get they have certain attraction, but at the same time they have internalized homophobia because of this as well.
Mm.
Did you ever go through it?
Not really. Again, it's just feeling guilty and feeling bad. I mean, it's very similar to when I was younger, when I was like 12, 13, when you start masturbating, you had that guilt feeling about yourself that this is not something that you should be doing. So it's a bit like that. But then as you grow older, you have more confidence and stuff. So um, yeah, so I think you got to enjoy yourself when it comes to sex and feel comfortable with the people around you. But sometimes, like you said, you're saying, oh, the thing downstairs is telling you one thing, and you just want to, explore that. But for me, it's kind of like being more about having the human connection, or sometimes you want that attention from somebody else, or you want to feel loved and cared about. And sometimes I've gone through that avenue as well, where I've got into a situation purely for that connection, just to make friends with somebody, have that sense of belonging, and I've done that, and it's felt good, and sometimes it felt really bad.
Yeah. Well, that is natural. Um, on the similar way, like, are you religious and do you sometimes feel guilty because of because of the religion aspects or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I do believe in God. I believe in a spiritual being, and I do believe in being a good person. So um, sometimes obviously religion does contradict our lifestyle, uh, but I try my best, and I try to be a good person, and I try to be fair with everybody, and I try to do good things. I try not to hurt people as well.
That's good. So at least um, you try to be a good human, and that's more important for you than giving
It is.
labels and something. That's good actually. It's a healthy way to think, to be honest. How about your parents? Like, do you think you struggle your relationship with them or something because of this or because of any reason?
Yeah, and thank God I'm an adult now, and I've got my own life. Otherwise, it'll be quite hard. But I think they do have a slight inkling of my sexual preferences, but something that they don't want to talk about, and that's quite nice. But yeah, I respect my parents and my community, and I try keep my business out of their business, if you know what I mean. And that's how things should be.
Yeah, that should be unfortunately, but a lot of people don't understand this. Especially as I said, like when we are part of a close community, very strong community, it's
Mm,
different. Like we got to answer to a lot of people.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's
Have you
nice.
done some? Are we getting some more questions? We're getting the typical questions all the time.
If you want to choose any comment to answer, you can. Feel free to read it, and I can
I'll
hold
try
the
to read.
conversation. Go through comment section. I can hold the conversation until that, and you read and use or answer your type of question that you want to answer. Okay, guys. So
I'll
anybody
be
who has any question for Eddy, please do write it. But it has to be something that he would like. I think you guys can ask him better questions because from men to men perspective, because I know a lot of men and trans attracted men also watches my videos sometimes, and you might have a lot of questions and stuff. So I think this is a great person to ask you, because a lot of people ask me this question, and they're doubting their sexuality and stuff, because a lot of people just come across my channel and then they stick to this channel and they say, oh, they've never met or have a conversation like that with a trans person and stuff. So I think this is going to be more helpful for you, I guess. And
Yes, definitely.
by the way, he's not specifically attracting in trans. He's a straight man, so he likes biological women. He just happened to have dated some trans women as well. Like, oh, not dated, but seen some trans women as well. So that's why he can give you the better answer for these questions. Somebody's asking, what is your biggest fear?
Biggest fear is obviously losing people that you care about, your family, and yeah, that's it really. Can't really have too much fear. You've got to be strong. You've got to be fearless, as I say. Otherwise, things will, affect you in a bad way, especially with things what are going on in the world at the moment. So you've got to be grateful and, got to have hope for the future all the time.
Hmm. And somebody else asking in the comment section that what is the difference? Like, did you feel different being with a trans women in bed or a biological women in bed? Like, is there any major differences? Obviously, apart from is there any major difference?
I mean, of course, there are differences, but everyone's unique. Everyone's different, and some people are, really, really good in bed, and some people are good at a specific act of what they do, and some people are not very good. So again, everyone's different. You got to go out there and explore, and, whatever tickles, whatever tickles your fancy, as they say, whatever you like. There might be something about a person who's good at kissing, for example, and somebody might be good at giving oral, and some people might be good at
Okay, let me be
hearing.
specific because you're answering very vague again. So let's
Yeah.
say kissing wise, for example. Okay, I know some people can be good in kissing, some people won't. But it's like, do you feel like you're kissing a man when you're kissing a trans woman, or compared to women? Like, because the skin softening is obviously we do have our skin softening and everything with the help of hormones. We got dressed with the help of hormones and stuff, body and everything. But at the same time, there are still several differences. I would like to know those differences. If you think, like, for example, our bone structure is different, right? Voice is obviously different. Sometimes we act a little bit different than women. Some trans women act too feminine, and some of them are a bit more, I guess. Even they try to act feminine, but it doesn't come across as much. So, what is like? How's your thought on it? Like in bed, especially. What is the exact difference when you actually notice? Oh, you like this about trans women in bed, or you like this about women in bed and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. Like, so some trans have really soft skin, due to taking hormones and having laser treatment, for example. And certain women are not very, up on that game. So it makes a difference. But generally, like I said, everyone's different, and I've had some really good experiences with trans and some really bad, and some are very sexually active as well, which helps. But yeah, everyone's an individual. What can I say? And I'm into lots of different things, and I like to experiment and explore, and obviously meeting new people all the time. That's what I enjoy doing.
Okay. Um. Right. Do you have like somebody like yourself? You met different type of people. What about your experience with the post-op trans? If you have met any post-op trans.
Yeah, I met somebody who'd had bottom surgery quite a few years ago, and she's had some silicone implants put in as well, so she had the full surgery. But it was quite a traumatic time for her, and I think the end result wasn't so positive. Um, so yeah, I really felt for her at the time, and then she wasn't in a very good state because it's such a big process, and yeah, such a sweet person. But again, they're just never happy, and they want to have more surgery, and they want to take more medication, and unfortunately, mental health sort of breaks down, and the doctors don't really talk about that side of it. So
Why do you
again, you've got
think
to.
they
Sorry,
why do you think they're after too many surgeries, and why do they seek so much?
because with surgery, what you got to understand is there's always a risk of it going wrong. So it's never instant. Some people think that, oh, I'm going to have for example, somebody might have a nose job done and think, oh yeah, gonna have it done once and it's going to be perfect. It doesn't. I know people who've had 3 nose jobs done and they're not happy, they're still not happy. So again, it's just a big risk you take.
I think I know which person you're talking about. I think I know. I might have seen that person uh, through you, of course.
Yeah.
But do you think it is surgery wise, first of all? And of course, you've been with that person. Like, do you call that a vagina?
I personally wouldn't call it a vagina because it's not the same. And unfortunately, this person's surgery didn't go so to plan, and I think she's had 3 operations now. So, and I've not really spoke to her. Sorry, we're getting a lot of feedback with this. Um, why is it doing that? Do you know? Should I put headphones on?
You can mute your if you want. You can mute your speaker.
Okay, that might be it then.
Can
Is
you
that
still
better?
hear me? But will you be able to still hear me if you mute your speaker?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
Can
then
you hear
that's
me?
fine. Yeah, I can hear you.
That's better now.
Okay.
It's better. So yeah, so this person, she's had, I think, 3 surgeries. Oh, we're still getting feedback. Let me try these headphones. Might make a difference.
Okay. Are you on two devices or something?
No,
Okay. Okay.
I'm just using my I can still see that feedback. I can hear it.
It will give you feedback if you have like if you have joined from the link, and if you're also watching it on the screen as well, then you will obviously hear it again. So you got
No,
to
I'm just
either
watching it
mute.
on.
Yeah, if you're watching it on YouTube, then mute from YouTube, and let's
Right.
see if you could still hear me from the link. I can't hear you.
Right. So you can hear
Yeah,
me now. Hang on.
I can hear you
Right,
now.
I'm back now. But then
Oh.
what's this other button here? Is that the speaker?
So if, for
Reach
example,
what?
basically if you're watching it
Retouch.
from 2 different websites, then one of them you need to mute.
I'm not though. I'm only followed the link that you sent me.
Okay. And you don't have any
I'm
other
not
link
watching it.
on
No,
YouTube.
no.
Can you still hear yourself?
I can hear myself, yeah.
I'm
But
talking
it's
about
like the
like,
feedback.
then don't use it at least, because you're constantly getting that feedback in your ears if you're using the headphones.
No, it was before the headphones. We still had the feedback.
Okay. So
It's
as long as
annoying.
it's done now, let's go back to the question. That was an interesting question. I would love to hear about that.
Yeah. So this friend of mine, she's had quite a tough time in her childhood and stuff, and then she's had quite a few different surgeries. And then when I first met her, she actually was going for the surgery for the second time. Put this phone down. Yeah, so she went to a private hospital, and then she had bottom surgery again because it wasn't right the first time, and she had these huge breast implants, and they felt really good, really firm. I think they were done privately as well, and I think she's recently had it done again because I think is it after 10 years you got to take them out, the implants.
The implants, yes, they have expiry. They come with expiry.
Yeah. So I think she's had a new boob job, and I think she might have had the bottom surgery done again, but I need to maybe find out.
She must be very
But
rich.
something like that. Well, she's like I said, it's gone wrong twice, and it's like a hole, and you can't really even go there. It's that tight, and it's just very uncomfortable for her.
Did you never ask her like why is it like this? Is it because of medical negligence or is it because she wasn't dilating?
Maybe she wasn't dilating. I don't really know.
How long she had a surgery for? By the time
I
you
think it's
met?
been over 10 years now.
No, by the time
I
you met
think
her, how long?
I think by the time I met her, she's probably had it for 5 years. I'm guessing.
Oh, that's a long time. Well,
Yeah.
the
So
thing that I know about, bottom surgery in UK, there are different types of bottom surgeries in UK, and the doctors NHS provide only penile inversion technique, in which they insert your like they what do you call it? They put your basically it's your skin of your penis and they just use it to constrict a vagina, which goes
mm,
inwards. So that's why it's called penile inversion technique. So
yeah,
and a lot of people do that. Then obviously you know that if it's your own skin, that will not be like
yeah,
your skin. That will be like outer skin, and it's obviously the texture will be different. It will be non lubricating. The depth is not going to be that much because they will try to create a depth with with the skin that you have already, and they can use
yeah. Of
excess
course.
skin from other parts, but it won't be that much. So and can you imagine like my number came up like 2 3 years ago for the surgery, and I refused it. Although I was
Yeah.
interested in surgery, but I refused it because of
Yeah.
the
You
same
said.
technique. I did not want to go for the same techniques and get butched surgery. There are better techniques available nowadays that people can use, but they
Yeah.
cost a lot, and you have to go private for that.
Yeah, but maybe you can have a friend of mine on this live as well one day. That way she can go through the whole journey, the whole process. That'd be quite interesting.
Hmm.
So maybe we can ask them. That'd be good.
Um, Nino is asking about can you can you actually see like if there is a trans woman who's so passable and you might are in a good relationship, you both are in a good relationship. If you are, would you be able to just make her like meet your family and stuff like that ever in future or something like that? Like, will you be comfortable around your family, dating around your family and stuff?
Um, Me personally, no, because I mean, it's not because they're trans. I really don't like my family to know my partner who I'm seeing, because I just like to keep them both separate,
Hmm.
and I think it's best for my personal reasons to be like that. But who knows? Who knows? If I did ever meet somebody who was so special, maybe I would introduce them.
Okay.
But everyone's
I
got
don't
their
think
own.
it's necessary. I honestly don't
Sorry.
think it is necessary. I don't think it is necessary for, anyone's parent because what happens between you and the person, even if it's a relationship or something, you don't have to be too close to the whole family and
Mm,
everyone, unless if you're too close yourself with them. But
mm.
anyway, um, right. There you go. The question of post-op transwoman. So how did you actually like? Did you not feel a thing about her? Like, or did you actually not done it, or you tried to do it and then realized no, it's not possible. I can't do it with her.
Yeah, and this particular person, yeah, it was because it was like quite a tight hole down there, and just wasn't the right thing to do.
How would you describe that?
Um, um, Other than what I've just said previously, like I say, it was just like a hole that the surgeons had just made, and yeah, for whatever reason, maybe she's not dilated, I don't know, but it just wasn't what's the word? It just wasn't. It was just basically out of bounds completely. So I think the person was generally happy receiving the other type of sex. So
Okay,
yeah, so they were quite happy.
the anal sex, you mean?
Yeah, of course. So
But
yeah,
if you
yeah.
heard from some people that like even if you have after surgery, if you are trying to have anal, that can also be a problem because your internal is so messed now that it can actually rupture or damage the surgical area if you're trying to have anal. I don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It could be, but like I say, everyone's different, so I can't really comment.
How was the outer appearance of it?
Um, it wasn't so nice, to be honest with you, because obviously they've done a bad job of it. Hence, they went for the second time and the third time maybe. But I will try find out whether it's been successful for the third time or
Would you
not.
say you would go down on her?
What, orally or
Yeah.
no? I personally wouldn't because it's just not something I do.
Yeah.
I like receiving it all day long, but so I'm
Okay.
very selfish, aren't I?
No, it's not selfish. Like everybody has their preference. You might be good in some other
Mm.
department. You never know.
Oh, really? Hope so.
How would I know? Okay.
Mm.
Um. Okay. Nino's saying he just like you. So you got a fan, by the way. Nino find you very
All right.
relatable.
Hi, Nino.
Right. So that was the biggest question that I actually wanted to ask because I know I heard it from you before as well. Like, how was the experience with the post-op? But I just want to talk in details a little bit about this. Um. And that was the only post-op you ever met.
I've met quite a few in the past, but I've only been intimate with just very, very few people. So um,
But I'm
I
talking
would
about,
like to meet more post-ops as well. I'm sure I will. Um,
but in terms of sexual experiences, you only have this one particular experience with a post-op.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. And it didn't put you off completely, huh? I'm surprised.
No. No.
Okay. Just in case there is a hope. Depends. Like maybe you can ask if somebody's a post-op, you can ask like what type of surgery they had. So if they mention penile inversion technique, then just don't
Mm,
meet because you
I will.
I don't.
I'm not going to listen to you. I'm still going to go meet them. All
Okay,
right.
good. I like it.
Who made you in charge?
I like it that you didn't follow my advice because I regret saying that now because like thinking about it now, no way. Like some people it can really work out for. So anyway.
Oh,
Do you
come on.
think
There's
like
what, 13 people? We had 40 people before, 41 people.
yeah, they come and goes. I think most of them goes because we were not trying to answer them. But don't worry, they it will pick up. Um, for example, once we finish the live stream, for example, a lot of people watch it afterwards as well.
It's been
So
an hour now almost.
yeah, it's fine. There were more people at some point. People like to come and go, so it's okay. Don't worry about that. Worry about the conversation that you're having, and that's why you need to give more details, I guess. Um,
Oh, I'll come out of my shell soon. Don't worry. This is just the start.
how much time do you have, by the way?
Probably another 5-10 minutes. 10 minutes, I'd say.
Okay, so let's wrap up in 10 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
So Mr. KZ is asking about your accent. Is it my accent or is it his accent, Mr. KZ? Anyway, right. We have spoken about trans. We have spoken about women. Let's talk about you a little bit because I think I asked you less questions about yourself and stuff. Um, would you mind, if you don't want to say particularly how old you are, would you mind just giving a rough idea? How old are you?
Yes, I'm in my 40s now, getting old.
Okay. So, like at this stage, how do you see yourself? Do you want to get settled? Do you think a lot of women, and if you would find a partner, would you be able to be honest with her about your, your sexuality or your past experiences? Do you think it's easy for you to find someone like that?
No, I think it's very, very difficult. A soulmate, number one, and number two, telling people intimate details is another thing. And I think, with respect, I think people need to forget about people's past and just look to the future. That's why I look at it. And I'm happy the way things are. I'm happy exploring and dating and meeting people and having my own space. I love my own company. So I think it's best not to put too much pressure on yourself. And that's what people get miserable. They get depressed. Oh, why doesn't people go with me? Why can't I find Mr. Right or Mrs. Right? It's just a sad journey. What can I say?
Yeah, I know it is difficult. Like since I finished with my last relationship, I'm not bothered with relationship and stuff. Like I remember like when we both started our friendship
Yeah.
at first, like first I was so much involved in transition, but then we all fell in relationship with different people and it was
Yeah.
we were both busy and stuff. And so in that sense, like we have seen each other growing up and evolving in a relationship as well in different people with different people. How many relationships have you been in since then?
What, in the past 5 years?
No, it's not been 5 years. It's been 10 or 10 plus years.
Oh, 10 years.
Yeah, but
Maybe at
I
least
met in
3.
2015, I think, 2015 or 14.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah. I'd say at least 3 or 4 relationships, but some have been very, very short. Some have been, a year or two. So
And what is your like? And I have also been in relationship. So do you have any question for me? Like, because I remember like at few points we stopped talking to each other as friends, and we sort of drifted apart as friends. Like, do you have anything to ask or say anything about that?
no, I mean, I'm really happy that we reconnected, because obviously we had this like 2-year gap, didn't we? Because obviously you were seeing somebody, and then I was in a relationship, and we just lost contact naturally because we were just living in different cities and stuff like that. So and then we did have a conversation like a few years ago, remember, which was really nice. And then we bumped into each other as well, didn't we? Which
Yeah.
is really, really nice. But then it's like I didn't have your phone number, and then I'd obviously seen you on these lives. I've seen you on social media, and it's like luckily you answered, and we've reconnected now, and it's been really, really
Yeah.
nice, and I'm really thankful for that.
Yeah. So guys, I just want to let you know, like, so we, of course, we were friends. We have been friends, but we have been lost in touch with each other because of the relationships. And I don't know about Eddie, but it's mostly because with me, like, I traveled to different places. I at first, in first relationship, I traveled to Germany, and then for the second relationship, I traveled to a completely different city, which is so far away from where I am at the moment. So yeah, that's another reason. The second thing is like jealousy and all that. I think it's the same thing for you as well. You don't want to. I don't know, for some reason, like, for if you're a friend with a man, or somebody who's non-trans and stuff, even if it's a gay guy, people are fine with that. But as soon as you become friends with either women or trans, and if you're in a relationship, people all of a sudden have a doubts on you, and they become
Yeah.
insecure and stuff. Is that
Yeah, I think.
that is
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think most women will freak out if a woman found out that I had relationships with trans or gay men, for example. They'll just look at me as if I'm really weird. Um, so it's best they don't know my secret life, and it's none of their business really. I mean, they do know that I do have friends that are LGBT, and that's as far as it goes. But they don't need to know any details of my
have you ever
past
mentioned
or present.
have you ever mentioned about me to any of your like exes, and did you feel that there was something not right after hearing that?
Yeah, because unfortunately, the world and people, they judge. And then, the last thing you want to do is put ideas in a woman's head and, plant them little seeds, because you don't know how big they will grow. So you're best thinking twice what you say, unfortunately.
So
Yeah.
are you suggesting people to like conceal it?
Well, everyone's different and depends on the environment, really.
Hmm.
And whenever you're ready to tell somebody. And obviously, I have discussed you with good friends of mine who are mature enough to understand the situation.
Yeah, but telling
Um,
friends is different than telling a partner.
yeah.
Even though
So,
that how many years like we have, like whenever we come across each other, we have always been cordial, we have always been nice, and we have that recollection. It was nice. And you and I both know that within these, like, after our first meeting and all that, like all this year, when we were in relationship, there was nothing between us, when things like that. So still, like, it's shameful that when we are in relationship, oh sorry, when you are in relationship and I'm in relationship, and we have to hide our friendship in that sense, because people get
yeah,
all sort of ideas.
jealous. Mm.
Yeah, I don't know why. And by the way, on this note, Nino is asking another question, like, do you think, is there any attraction between both of us?
Yeah, of course. Of course there is.
There you go, Nino. Of course there's attraction, but that doesn't mean that we're gonna spoil our friendship and stuff. So yeah, that doesn't affect us. Of course, when two people are
Mm.
together, you can be attracted to people, but sometimes
What's this
some.
question?
It's Nino. He's a mod. He's asking that.
Yes, I am single. So if there's any good-looking trans women out there, please get in touch.
Or even
Any
biological
hot?
women, for that sense, yeah.
Oh, yes, of course. We can't forget them,
Or,
can we?
or if there is any upcoming trans who's right now a guy in in this life. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Well, this was nice actually, talking to you after a long time and in detail, because it answers some of my questions as well, um, regarding you and I. It's nice. To be honest, like, if I now onwards, if I ever go back into a relationship, which I'm not with anyone, I'm not gonna try to hide it, and I'm not gonna try to compromise on my friendship. You know,
Mm.
I think that's a huge regret that I have had.
Yeah.
It's like it's nonsense when you try to live your life according to somebody else. It's suffocating.
Yeah.
It is.
Totally agree with you in that. And this is why I make my own decisions, and I can date and be with whoever I want without having the fear of what my parents will think or my siblings or my family will think. So I'm quite a fortunate position now to do that. I'm quite independent as well. So I'm breaking away from all the stigma from culture and our community, which is fantastic.
Okay. And what are your final thoughts about me? Like, how much did I change, and what has changed in me since like 10 years? Because you
Um,
knew before transition as well.
Obviously, your body's changed. It looks fantastic, and everything else is still the same. You're still a beautiful person inside and out. And I think with this journey, you're just going to get better and better. And I really look forward to that.
Mentality, because I think you were also skeptic about it at first, that hormones mess up with your mind sometimes. Do you think that
Yeah, of
happened with you?
course. With you, I don't think it has, because I think you know what you're doing and you know your limits and stuff. And unfortunately, there's people out there who just sort of take lots of different drugs and they've got mental health issues, and then there's this big, concoction of this, and it goes haywire. And that's what people need to be very, very careful of, and speak to the doctors and speak to the professionals and get the best advice they can get.
Yeah. And by the way, currently, I remember you were telling me about like some trans friends of yours and stuff. Like, are you currently like, doing something
Yeah,
with them?
yeah, I have my fun on the side, but that's something I do. But yeah, it's just I try to help as much as I can with my friends, and I meet lots of new people all the time, and people have got lots of issues going on as well. And they've got this gender dysphoria. They don't know what name they want to be called. They don't know what sexuality they want to be called one day, and they keep changing. But that's the way things are at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've got lots of
I
them
remember
friends as
like
well.
when we went to meet, when we went to this type of meeting, LGBTQ group meeting. I remember I took you with me at that time because I wasn't feeling comfortable going alone by myself. So I took you with me.
Mm.
I don't think it's right for me to mention the name of that group. It's a local LGBTQ group. That's all I can say. And
Yeah.
we both went there together. How was your experience on that meeting and stuff? Like, what type of people
It
you
was
come across?
it was fantastic, because you obviously listen to these people and you seem to think that you forget about your problems, you think about the other person, you're thinking, God, this person's going through so much personal trauma,
Yeah.
and you feel so good about yourself, really. But you sympathize with them and you try to help them and the best you can. But yeah, it's just what can I say? It's an effed up world out there, and people have got problems.
But at the same time, there were some people who were identifying as squirrels and all that. Do you
Yeah,
think
yeah,
about that? Like,
yeah. Like I said, things are getting a bit more confusing now, and that was like how many years ago? About 7, 8 years ago, or longer. And now it's kind of like it's just there's people are really confused. The kids of today.
but they were not kids; they were older than us.
Well, this is it. It's
Person who
something
was
that we learn.
saying about who wants to live like a squirrel, or there are some people who wants to live like a grown up baby or something, or there is a unfortunately there was a trans well there was somebody LGBTQ who have proper like facial hair growth, but they want to identify as something. So I just want to know what is from your perspective, because you're not a trans person, even though you're an ally or you know
Mm.
you have met some, but how much can you understand this, and how do you think, like, is it real? Some of it is real, some of it is like, most of it is just cloud chasing or something. What is it?
It's exactly what you just said. It's a lot of it's neglect. It's maybe they've had a childhood experience, or they've been through trauma or mental health issues, and a lot of them are genuine. But I'm not an expert, so I can't really say. I can't really judge people like that. But there's so much out there now where people are sort of filling the boxes and then just fitting into wherever they want to be, whichever direction they want to go through. So yeah, it's just crazy. It's insane, and it's just getting out of hand now. I'll be honest with you. It's just getting really ridiculous.
Hmm. And what are your thoughts about, like, you're hearing these in media now, like trans women going to female toilets and stuff, and female sports, and a lot of uh, you know what do you call, fight back from women as well, especially like TERFs or radical feminists and stuff who are against it. What are your thoughts on it? And you were the one who was actually first time mentioned to me that, oh, a lot of lesbians are struggling with it because they're closing lesbian bar because so many trans women are invading lesbian places
Yeah,
and spaces. So go on,
I
tell
mean,
me
I
something.
don't really care. I mean, I quite enjoy it, because I did go to a gender neutral toilets last time, and I met a woman there, and we were having a conversation. So it's really, really nice. It's a nice space that you normally don't have them conversations. with somebody, and then you meet them and you have a good chat, and you get to know them, and introduce yourself. It's really, really nice. And obviously, women do have a right to feel safe. But then obviously you've got the certain people who in the media just want to make a big song and dance about it, but that's their business. But I really don't have a problem with it as long as people's got the privacy of what they're doing. So yeah.
Just to make it clear, so you're okay with trans women in women's sports or women toilets?
Yeah, like I say, it doesn't really affect me. It doesn't really concern me. So I really don't care.
Anything that you want to say, like, because you are saying there are a lot of wrong reasons as well and traumatic experiences that make someone feel that way as well. I'm not saying I'm not generalizing all trans women the same way.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that there are certain people, and we both have come across certain people like that, especially through dating sites. When you yourself mentioned that there were some actually basically men who were transvestite, and they are openly saying themselves they are cross dressers. They are calling themselves CD and stuff. And I know because we have been on those sites, and they were themselves presenting. And I'm not trying to put someone down by saying that no, they are like that. No, they were actually doing that, and they are mentioning it that they are doing this as a dress of fetish and stuff like that. Do you think that type of individual belong to a women toilet? Or because there are some countries where people can self-identify as trans. They don't have to go through hormones. They don't have to go through therapy and stuff, and they can just self-identify. They can just say that they are trans, and they can change their passport just like that, and then start using female spaces. How do you think that is safe, especially because you have women in your house as well? So
I don't really agree with that, where you can just wake up one morning and decide you want to be a female, or next day you want to be. I think that's just ridiculous. I think I accept people that are gay and trans and male and female, but then you've got all this in between, and it's just for me it's really confusing. I'll be honest with you, but at the same time I respect somebody who wants to do that, and I don't make the rules, unfortunately. So I'm just the same. I'm just on the fence with this sort of whole idea. But what they're trying to do is they're trying making it all sort of natural, making it normal. But it clearly isn't normal. What can I say? So it's just quite a scary time at the same time as well for people who sort of don't feel comfortable in their safe space.
yeah, and that is a problem, because that is a problem for those people who are either even women and trans women, who are the trans women who can't pass properly, or the trans women who are early in their transition, or the women who are a bit masculine looking. There are so many
Yeah.
lesbians who are really butch. So unfortunately, and they, if we are going by the looks only, then the problem is they can get in trouble as well, because you're not going to be like checking everybody downstairs before letting them in the toilet and stuff. So that can also be a problem. But on the same side, this is an awkward situation where somebody can actually disguise themselves, which is blatantly, So I'm not trying to tell that, oh, non-passing people cannot use the toilets and stuff like that. I'm not saying that. Not advocating for it. I'm just saying that even if somebody's non-passing, they're still trans. There are so many still changes that people can notice compared to somebody who's not. Well, Eddy, it was lovely to have you. Do you have any last message or something that you want to tell people before we leave?
No, just like to say thank you very much for inviting me. It's been really, really good, and hope everyone enjoyed that. And if there's any questions, please contact caller, and I'll try to get back in touch. And hopefully we could speak again and get other people involved as well. So thank you very much.
That will be great. Do you have any like socials that you want to share, or do you want people to either subscribe to you? Do you have any content on YouTube that you want people to watch or subscribe?
No, not really. I'm quite a private person, but obviously my handle's on the bottom there. So if somebody wants to message me, by all means, they can message you that way. And hopefully we'll do something over summer. We'll do another video and see how things go. But thank you very much for listening, guys. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and take care.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One more thing before we go, guys. I'm going to put Eddy's links, whatever links he wants to share. I'll share it in the description under the video. So if you want to visit his channel, his socials, you can. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining in, for your lovely questions. And yeah, I'll do live stream later on anyway. But it was wonderful to have you, Eddy. And yeah, we will do it again. Look after yourself. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.